Linton alongside Jerem Jordan. We are pleased to bring on set with us the one and only voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell, as he is here for semifinal Monday. Greg, we're always asking players about their pregame routines and their pregame meals and stuff like that. What's your pre-broadcast meal or superstition?
No meal. I don't like to eat before a game. Yeah.
Did you have an incident? Because Blaine Fowler had an incident.
No. I just like to feel light on my feet when the game begins.
No beverage, no nothing. Any water?
I'll keep a water under the under the table. Yeah.
Intermittent fasting.
I try and avoid the carbonation. So I avoid meals and carbonation and keep a water.
You're low maintenance. That's awesome.
Dave's the carbonation guy. Dave McCann. During little sips.
I think carbonation can do bad things to you during a broadcast when you least expect it.
You're also a marathon. You're also a marathon runner.
Nah, half marathon runner.
This all makes
My
sense.
marathon days are long behind me. Yeah.
Have you run marathons?
I've run 3.
3?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive. I didn't know that.
Yeah, not back to back to back or anything, but 3 over my lifetime.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. It's great to talk to you.
Great. Yeah, good. See you later.
This is exciting, right? We've been talking about for several weeks, kind of getting to this point of the tourney, hoping that BYU would be a top two seed. Here they are, 9 days off, and so there's always the conversation, and it's great for a show like this. Rust versus rest. What do you expect in terms of the St. Mary's winning double OT team versus BYU that's been off for 9 days?
Well, I think it's specific to BYU in that they really needed some rest. There were a lot of guys by the end of the year that could have used some time off, and it, not that it really helps Dalton Nixon any. The time is the time. They just didn't have to play games without him. But the fact that BYU's into the NCAA tournament means that BYU can ideally and hopefully get Dalton back on the floor. They played for him to play again, and I think that they're going to get that. And so I think for BYU, rest is important. I think for St. Mary's, there's going to have to be some fatigue, right? I mean, granted, they always say these are young men. They're used to playing. True enough. The last time that Jordan Ford had this kind of game, he played 58 minutes in the 4 overtime loss to Pacific. Came back, and the next game was against BYU. He played really well. That was 5 days between games. This is a quicker turnaround. Now, that said, this is more like a conference schedule. You play Thursday, play Saturday. In this case, you play Saturday, you play Monday. So the turnaround is not that big a deal, but he plays it. No one's played more minutes in the country than Jordan Ford. And clearly he's built for it, but they put a lot on his shoulders. And I would think that BYU is going to want to make Jordan Ford work as humanly hard as possible to get whatever he's going to get tonight and see if maybe those legs don't wear down a little late in the game. But again, he's played so many minutes this year. Does it really bug him having had to go 50 on Saturday? We'll find out.
Yeah, I wonder about the other guys. Jordan's kind of this proven commodity there. And if he's not good, they don't have much of a chance, right? He's a big part of the offense, but it's the other guys.
Yeah, and Fitz didn't have a great game against Pepperdine on Saturday night, and so you wonder, is there a regression that comes to play? And he has a great night tonight. He was having a pretty good night in Provo until BYU changed some things, and Connor Harding was kind of given the assignment and took Malik off, and then Malik fouls out, as I recall. BYU's deeper. A little more prolific, a little more varied in their offense, and St. Mary's is much more reliant on 2 guys, Jordan Ford and Malik Fitz. BYU's got more guys to go to. I think in this case, BYU's favored for a lot of good reasons, and that's one of the main ones, is that they can go more places than just 1 or maybe 2 guys. But what you see from St. Mary's right now is a high-usage Jordan Ford. I mean, he is everything for this team right now. And that's what makes St. Mary's look not similar to previous Gales teams. You didn't have to worry always about, well, Delhi was certainly the guy, and Waldo was. They've had guys, but maybe not to the single extent that Jordan Ford's being leaned on right now.
Greg Wrubell with us on BYU Sports Nation. It is semifinal Monday in Las Vegas. Jeremy and I just went through a laundry list of things that are, quote-unquote, on the line for BYU and St. Mary's tonight. What's at the top of that list when I ask you that question? What's on the line tonight?
What's on the line is a line, moving a seed line. I think with every win, you're going to move up a line or 2 this week in Las Vegas. And so just generally speaking, if you don't do anything, you're probably in the 6 to 8 range. I think if you win a game, you're in the 5 to 6 range, and if you win a couple of games, you're in the 3 to 4 range possibly. If things break as I expect they might. So I think there's a lot of room for movement this week for Gonzaga. There's really not a lot of room. I think even if they were to lose to USF on semifinal Monday, Could that drop them from a 1 to a 2? Possibly. If they get to the title game, win or lose, I think that's going to be a 1 for Gonzaga. So that's what's on line for them. For St. Mary's, similar deal. I think they could find themselves moving a line with each win if they were to get 2 wins here in Las Vegas. And for BYU, they could even move more, I think, because I think people are holding that 3 out there as a possibility if they win the whole thing.
A 3 feels amazing, right? And you mentioned 8. Do you really feel BYU could drop to as far as?
Well, I'm saying 6 to 8, right? And so that gives you, if you believe there are 6 or 7, could you see a Sunday play drop to an 8? Possibly, if they do nothing, if they don't win a game.
Right.
And again, we've seen enough selection Sundays come and go to know that sometimes they end up with a seed lower than you might think.
Yeah, let's hope that's not an 8 because
right now, they're looking at a 5, but I think that's if the season ended now, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the more games you play, there's more chance for movement.
Wildly, we are 13 days away, right? Or sorry, 6 days away, a full week, right, from Selection Sunday. A lot can happen with the other tournaments, and we've talked about the rootables, like root for Houston to be great, and you root for Gonzaga to win tonight to make sure that that's as good as it can be until maybe BYU plays. But here we are. There's a little bit of practice behind us. We are privileged to be able to go to practice sometimes. Will you describe what a BYU practice is like this season with Mark Pope?
Energized and kind of vivacious, if you will. And he is someone that puts it all out there. Game or practice. I just love his style. I think it's fantastic. He's someone that is as transparent, I think, as it gets in the game in terms of who he really is to the media, to the public, to the fans, to the players. He's the same guy. I love it.
And in the last few minutes of practice, they do this unique thing with free throws. And we were actually asked by Bobby Hordusky, the director of ops, what time we're off because of this. We describe that.
This thing is when it's free throws at the end of a practice, up to a 5-minute period, complete silence. No noise in the gym.
And they're serious.
Oh, very serious
like
about it.
Anyone on the sidelines is like, hey.
No talking, no whispering, no mumbling.
Nothing.
If there's equipment stuff, no work being done, cables being strung, boxes being dropped, none of that stuff. Complete silence for free throws.
And it's intense.
Yeah,
I like it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Is this to add pressure to it? I mean, what's the reasoning behind this?
I think it's all about focus and owning every shot and being totally in the moment. And he wants a completely silent gym for that portion of practice.
To the point that Bobby Hordusky came and asked us when we'd be done, so they wouldn't hear somebody 1,000 feet away talking.
Right. I was down on the floor a few moments ago setting up my position for tonight, and I could hear you guys, even just talking. When the arena's that quiet, we could hear you guys from down on the floor.
It cares. It's a huge building, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got riled up, too, so I was kind of yelling. Yeah.
Greg Wrubell with us on BYU Sports Nation. The Cougars, as you mentioned, are a 5 seed in most metrics, bracketology, Jerry Palm CBS, The Athletic.
And for the record, I'd be stunned if BYU's an 8 right now. I just think that's a worst case scenario. If they were to lose tonight, maybe not look good doing. I'm trying to think about what's the worst that could happen. They'd still be a favored.
That's my
seed.
job. Why are you taking my job?
They'd still be a favored seed in the NCAA tournament,
sure.
Right? Which they haven't been in a long time since Jimmer.
Which is exciting.
But I believe they're better than that. I think the metrics all say they're better than that. And so that's kind of me like, wow, man, they're maybe a 6 or 7, but we had a weird Sunday thing. We got to stick them. Yeah, that's like, doomsday stuff.
As high as a 3, as low as an 8.
Yeah.
Now, they're 9th in the net, and Jeremy and I were talking about this morning. How does BYU get ahead of a team like Florida State, who is a higher seed, ranked higher, and have a combined 14 quad 1 and quad 2 wins? Yeah. How does that happen within the net rankings where BYU is ranked 1 spot higher than Florida State?
Yeah, and also, you look at, let's take a look at 4 main schedule strength metrics. 3 of them have BYU in the 70s, and the net has BYU at 30. Okay, so the net's clearly looking at some different things than others are right now, and that's proprietary to the NCAA. And whatever their secret sauce is, it favors BYU right now. Everything looks good to what the Cougars are doing. Now, you bring up the ACC. The ACC at the top has as many teams as the WCC at the top. They've got a big 3, and the WCC has a big 3. I think both those leagues have 3 teams in the net top 30 right now. But you've got to go outside the 30 to find the next best ACC team. So ACC is a little more top-heavy than it has been, and the WC is as top-heavy as it has been.
Yeah, North Carolina struggling has kind of helped that, right? Wow. And the league has 6 20-win teams for the first time. They're going to get 3 in. This has been a banner year, and it's been fun. And the last time we were in this gym, it was a crappy night. You know what I mean? Losing to San Diego, we walked out here. Here we are. It's just so different. It's amazing what can happen in 1 year, right?
It's quite incredible. And a lot of these same guys are back, but the ones who weren't part of this make all the difference on this year's team. Mark Pope wasn't here. Alex Barcelo wasn't here. Jake Toulson wasn't here. Those are 3 really important pieces to this puzzle. As enough guys who return remember it, this is a different team in every possible way from last year.
And I think we should pocket that idea with all the sports. Listen, it can change quickly. If you get the right situation, the right person leading the group, the right group of players, the right culture, you can do something great from something terrible. BYU didn't even make the NIT, and here we are talking about a 3 seed maybe.
So, well, you talk about the difference of year to year. How about month to month? Let's not forget. Okay, what we just saw, BYU's 14th in the AP poll today. Okay, that happened in a month. Okay,
yeah, seriously.
When BYU lost at San Francisco, okay, 2 days later the poll came out, 0 vote points. Okay, they were starting from scratch again. That was a tough loss. They were 15-7 at that point. They had just lost another away game, another game losing a large lead. There were some dents in the portfolio, and they had 0 vote points that following Monday. What's happened since? No losses, 9 straight wins, no votes to top 15, bubble to maybe a 3 seed. It happens quick, and that shows you play good basketball in February. Great things can happen to a program.
January 25th. That was the loss to San Francisco.
The date that will live in infamy. Yes,
yeah.
was the loss at USF,
and then
they've not
9
lost
in a
again
row,
since.
baby.
Yeah,
awesome.
And so it's really pretty cool. USF, by the way, tall task. Gonzaga hasn't missed a conference tournament title game in 23 years.
That's incredible.
Okay. Wow. So
the format helps.
But somebody asked me today, if USF were to do the unthinkable, win this thing, is the WCC a 4-bid league? Well, yeah.
Yes.
Because if you got 3 locks and someone else wins it, there's your 4. But the league doesn't. But the committee doesn't look at it like, oh, we can't give the WCC 4. They just look at resumes.
It's individual teams.
Right. And so if USF earns it, well, the other 3 have already earned it. Yeah, it's a 4-bid league, which would be crazy, right? But it'd be the first time ever, and Gonzaga doesn't lose.
No, they don't. This is their tournament.
Yeah, so kudos. I mean, really, 22 consecutive semifinal wins.
That's wild.
In this tournament. Even if you're getting double or triple buys, they still perform every time they're asked to.
I wish they had to play at UNLV a while back. that would have been the equalizer.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, as always, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
Okay, coming